Hello, welcome to Sustainable Futures Week 4. This has been the third time we've run this course, and every time has been excellent, but this time we really felt that the comments and reflections that you've offered have upped the game beyond what we've seen before, and we really appreciate that. The mentors have been making some comments to me, and I wanted to share a few of them with you. They said things like that the comments that you've been making are very uplifting. It's great to see such engagement with the course, and one said, I'm a little bit sad to see this run is almost over because they've been enjoying it so much. So I'd like to thank you all for making running this course a pleasure for all of us. And also I'd like to thank the team of mentors for the work that they put in supporting you. So I'd like to pick up on a few things based on the discussions that you've been having. First of all, in the section on different strategies, a few of you have been having a conversation about the advantages and disadvantages of cooperation versus confrontation when it comes to making change. And I wanted to share with you a little story based on a conversation I had with a woman called Papatia O'Reilly. She's a recent graduate of the University of Bristol, and she works as a volunteer with People and Planet. And while she was at the university, she was responsible for leading the fossil-free society at the university at the time when the university pledged to divest completely from fossil fuels in its investments. And she said that basically she felt that both cooperation and confrontation are necessary, and they used both in their conversations with the university. They had some protests outside the Senate House, but at the same time they were in conversation with the chief financial officer of the university, and they had very productive conversations about the difficulties that the university faced in divestment and what could be done to support the university, and they shared their ideas. And as a result of that, first of all, the university committed to divest from high-intensity fossil fuel industries, and more recently it's committed to divest fully from fossil fuel. And so I think this is a really good case where both confrontation and cooperation was necessary and indeed did make the difference. So also the other things that you've spoken a lot about the changes that you've made and the different kind of ways in which you are integrating the ideas from the course in your lives. And one of the mentors, Regina, said that she thought it would be good if maybe we shared some of our personal reflections on this with you, rather than just since you've been so good to share with us some quite personal things. So basically what I wanted to say is a little bit about two of the things that I've done in my life. One which is more recent and one which has been going on for a long time, which is in some ways my efforts to make the world a better place in a small way, in response partly to the microplastics issue that's been coming up. I now make an effort to pick up bits of plastic litter I see around the place. Not all the time, but sometimes when I'm walking to the shops, I'll particularly check around the drain areas before they get washed down into the sewers and carried out to the river. So I try to pick plastics around from the drain areas in my walks. The other thing is something that's been going on for a far longer time, and it's something that I recognise is really only available because I'm in the privileged position of having earned a professional salary for most of my life. And when I left university, I made a commitment to donate 10% of it to charities which support sustainability and environmental and social issues. And in line with what the effective altruists who we have interviewed as part of this course, you've seen a couple of them appear in the mashups, in line with what they say, in many ways we can often make quite a difference through, in an indirect way, by the donations we give, as well as by making direct changes in our lives. So that's something that I think is worth, if you're in the privileged position of having a professional salary, considering doing. The other things that you folks have been speaking a lot about is conversations, the importance of having conversations with others. And there's been some great reflections on how to make these conversations effective. And I think I agree with what many of you have said, that it's important to be genuine and to understand the other people who you're having conversations with, frame it in a way which makes sense for them, rather than trying to necessarily push your own agenda, even if you don't necessarily agree with them. Have productive conversations which are genuine and respectful with others. The other things I'd like to say is that do look at the bigger picture. Don't only think about the changes that you make. Think about it in the wider context of the contributions that you, society, governments, industry, etc. can make, and encourage those larger organisations to also play their part. And finally, do think about self-care looking after yourself, looking after your friends, taking care of your friends, and looking after the community in which you are in. Community and communities. It might be your neighbourhood, might be your student halls of residence, might be the societies that you're engaged with, both inside and outside your work. So thank you all very much for joining us. Please continue to share your thoughts and reflections with us. The course will be still open, even though the mentors will no longer be as active, but the course will still be open for the next few weeks. And if you have anything you want to share with us, please, we do appreciate hearing your thoughts and hearing your feedback. So thanks very much for joining us, and good luck with whatever you choose to do next with what you've learned and what you have reflected on in this course. Goodbye.